Hello students, in the last class we have studied some fundamental concepts which includes some basic notations. Then we have dealt with the set theory, what is meant by a set, elements of a set, then union and intersection of sets, also the difference of sets which are actually the operations on sets. Then we have also discussed about some statements which such as the conditional statement, it's a contrapositive, it's a negation, and it's a converse. All this we have studied in the last class. Also at the end we have studied negation of two important statements which we frequently use. Now in the today's class we are going to study some rules of the set theory, then collection of sets, union and intersection of arbitrary family of sets, and Cartesian product. So these things we are going to study in the today's class. So let us begin with the rules of set theory. We have some rules of set theory that we have already studied in the 11th 12th standard, and I have revised them in the first year and second year, also in the beginning of the metric spaces, but we are going to once again revise that. So some rules of set theory. So rules of the set theory, some important rules of set theory we are going to study here. So begin with rules of set theory. Rules of set theory. Rules of set theory we are going to study. So first one, we know that if we have A, B, C as any three sets, then we have the distributive law, and the distributive law is, if we have the distributive law is A intersection B union C. A intersection B union C is equal to the A intersection B union with A intersection C. This is one of the distributive laws. Then the second distributive law we have, it is A union B intersection C. It is equal to the A union B intersection with A union C. These are the two distributive laws of set theory. The first distributive law tells us that the intersection is distributive over the union of sets, and the second distributive law tells us that the union of sets is distributive over the intersection of sets. Next one, after these two distributive laws, we have the two De Morgan's laws. So those De Morgan's laws also we are going to deal with. So the De Morgan's laws are, we are familiar with the De Morgan's laws. So these De Morgan's laws are, first one is the A minus B union C. A minus B union C. Minus means different set, A different set B union C. It is equal to the A minus B, the different set A minus B. It's an intersection with A minus C, the different set A minus C. This is the first De Morgan's law, and the second De Morgan's law is A minus B intersection C. It is equal to the A minus B union with A minus C. So these are the two De Morgan's laws. So first De Morgan's law tells us that the complement of B union C in A, complement of B union C in A is same as the intersection of complements of B and C in A. And the second De Morgan's law tells us that the complement of B intersection C in A is same as the union of complements of B and C in set A. Okay, as we know that if we have A minus B, okay, we know that A minus B is nothing but, we have defined in the last class this difference set A minus B. A minus B comprises of all the elements X such that X is in A, okay, but X is not in B. X is in A but not in B, and this A minus B set can also be called as, it is the difference set A minus B is nothing but, it is also called as the complement of B. Okay, this can be called as the complement of B in A or with respect to A also it can be called. Okay, so complement of B with respect to A is the set A minus B. So similarly we have the De Morgan's laws. Now if the complement is denoted by dash, means if A dash denotes the complement of A, okay, if we use this notation A dash to denote complement of A, then obviously these two De Morgan's laws can be stated as, how they can be stated? They can be stated as B union C. The first one is the B union C. Okay, so first De Morgan's law can be stated as complement of B union C. B union C, its complement is same as complement of B intersection with complement of C. And the second De Morgan's law, which is this, can be stated as complement of B intersection C is same as complement of B union with complement of C. Okay, if this A dash denotes the complement of A, then we have these De Morgan's laws. So this is about the rules of set theory. The next one is the collection of sets. Okay, we'll move to the next, which is the collection of sets. So now if instead of having a single set, if we have many sets, then we are going to consider that as a collection of sets. For example, let us suppose that if we have the set A, if A is some set having some elements, for example, A has the elements X, Y and Z. If we consider the set of all subsets of A, then that will be a set which comprises of empty set phi. As we know that every set, empty set is a subset of each and every set. Also we know that every set is a subset of itself. Then the set containing only X is also a subset of that set A. Set containing Y is also a subset of set A. Set containing Z is also a subset of set A. Set containing two elements X and Y is also a subset of A. Set containing two elements X and Z is also a subset of set A, and set containing two elements Y and Z is also a subset of A. Okay, so these are all subsets of the set A. If you say the set containing three members X, Y, Z, then it is the set A itself, which I have already covered earlier. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if A has 3 elements in it, then the number of subsets of A are obviously 8, which is 2 raised to 3. So if A is a set, then the collection of all subsets of A, this is a set which consists of all the subsets of A. We call this as a collection of subsets of A, and it is denoted, it is called as the power set of A, and it is denoted by the notation. That notation is this power set. For the power set we will use the notation script P. So it is denoted by script P of A. This is the power set of A. Okay, and it is clear that if n of A is equal to k, k means some one natural number. If the number of elements in the set A is equal to k, then obviously then the n of means the number of elements in the power set of A, then n of power set of A, it will be equal to the 2 raised to k. It is equal to 2 raised to k. So this is the formula. Okay, this is about the collection of sets. Now collection of sets we are generally going to denote by the script letters, script small case letters. Okay, script letters will used to denote collection of sets. For example, we'll use the notations such as script A. Script A is as such. Script A. This is the notation that we'll use to denote the collection of set. That collection of sets. Script A. Similarly, we can use the script B and so on. Okay. Script B can be also denoted by the notation this such type. Script B. So likewise, we can use the notations to denote the collection of sets. Next one. Now, next we'll move to the arbitrary unions and intersections of sets. Arbitrary unions and intersections. Of sets. Arbitrary unions and intersections of sets. Now see here, if we have collection of sets, and suppose that collection of sets is denoted by this one, script A. If script A is a collection of sets, then the union of elements of script A is defined. How we are going to define it? Then the union of elements of this script A, okay, is defined as, how it is defined? So it is defined as, it is denoted, first of all it is denoted by the notation union of A, union over A belongs to script A. Union over A belongs to script A of set A. Union of A where A belongs to script A. Script A is the collection of sets, and it is the set of all the elements X such that X belongs to A. It is the set of all elements X such that X belongs to A. And what is this? What is the condition for X? This is for at least one A. For at least one A belongs to the script A. For at least one A belongs to the script A. Okay, this is likewise the union is defined. So what does it mean? It means that the union of A over A belongs to A. It means that take one by one each and every element of that collection set A. Okay, so for example, if the collection A, example also will consider, suppose that if the collection A, the script A, is the collection which consists of the elements of this are, first element in this one is suppose X, Y, second member is suppose, second element in this collection is suppose consist of the two members, and those members are Y, then suppose P. Third member is suppose consist of only one element, that is suppose Z. Next element in this script A is suppose consist of three members X, Y and R. Okay, if it is so, then if we consider the union of this A, where A can be this first set or second set, third set or fourth set, means any one set in this collection, then clearly in this case we have union of A over A belongs to the script A. Okay, union of A over A belongs to the script A is nothing but, here it is equal to the union of all these members. So union of all these means X, Y. So all members of first set we have covered. Then from the second set Y we have already covered. So just P we have to consider. From the next set Z. From the next set X and Y we have already covered. Remaining is simply R. So this is the union of A over A belongs to the script A. Now next one will define the intersection of this arbitrary family of sets. Okay, intersection of arbitrary family of sets. So intersection, how intersection can be defined? See here, intersection is defined as, so intersection, first of all, it is denoted by the notation, it is denoted by intersection of A over A belongs to script A. This is the notation to denote the intersection, and it is the set of all X such that X belongs to A. It is the set of all X such that X belongs to A, and this should happen for every A belongs to the script A. For every A belongs to the script A, which is to mean that to find out the intersection of this A over A belongs to the script A, consider only those elements which are present in each and every set, means only the common members we have to consider. And if this script A is our, if we consider this script A as in this example, then obviously if we find out the intersection of A over A belongs to the script A, okay, then in this case it is nothing but it is the empty set. Why it is empty set? Because if we consider in the first set we have X and Y, which is not present in the third set. So as first and third set do not have any element in common, if we go for the intersection of all these sets, then obviously it will be the empty set. So if you remember, these arbitrary unions and intersections of sets are nothing but these are the generalizations of the union and intersection of two sets. Okay, the union and intersection of two sets we have discussed in the last class, and whatever we are discussing now is nothing but it is just the generalization of whatever we have studied in the last class. And this thing, arbitrary union and intersection of sets, we have already studied in detail in the beginning of the semester 5th metric spaces paper. So it is this. Next one. Now one more thing we have to add, we are going to add here, that what happens if this collection itself is an empty set. This collection means this script A. If this collection of sets is itself is empty, then what happens to the arbitrary union and intersection? Then it is clear that will mention here, if that script A itself is empty. Okay, so see here, if this script A means the collection of sets is empty, if it is empty, then it is clear that then the union of A over A belongs to the script A. This is obviously empty set. Okay, similarly we have for the which one, for the intersection also, intersection will be in that case also empty. Okay, and the intersection of A over A belongs to the script A. This will be again empty set. It is clear, as the collection itself is an empty set. Okay, so next one, if script A is empty, okay, and X is universal set, then what happens? Next one, if script A is empty set and X is a universal set. Next one is if this script A is empty, okay, and X is universal set, and X is universal set. What is meant by universal set? That all we know very well, but once again I will revise it. When we study sets, then it is supposed that all the sets under consideration are subsets of a large set, and that large set is called as a universal set, which we generally denoted by capital X or capital U later. Okay, so it is this. So if script A is an empty set and X is a universal set, then what we have? So then in that case, then the union, okay, then in that case the union of A over A belongs to script A belongs to X now. Okay, A belongs to script A, sorry, over A belongs to script A, over A belongs to script A, where script A is a collection of sets. Okay, so it will be equal to, if we consider this union, then obviously it will be the union of all the subsets of that script A, okay, which is as usual our regular union of A over A belongs to script A. So nothing changed here. But if you go for the intersection, then what happens? Okay, so if, and in that case we have intersection of A over A belongs to the script A, then this will be equal to the X. If X is a universal set, then this change happens here. Okay, this one. Next one is the Cartesian product. Cartesian product of sets. Cartesian product of sets. First of all, we will discuss the Cartesian product of two sets. Then we will generalize it. Okay, so Cartesian product of sets. So see here, if we have A and B as any two sets, then if we consider the collection of, all ordered pairs, collection of all ordered pairs A comma B, such that the first element in the ordered pair, that is A, belongs to the first set A, and the second element or entry in the ordered pair belongs to the second set B. Okay, so then the collection of all ordered pairs, ordered pair A comma B, such that A belongs to A and B belongs to B, it is called the Cartesian product A cross B. Okay, and that we denote by the notation A cross. So therefore what we have? Therefore we have A cross B equal to, so it is the set of all ordered pairs. The Cartesian product A cross B is nothing but it is the set of all ordered pairs A comma B, such that A belongs to A and B belongs to B. Like such, the Cartesian product of two sets is defined. From this definition, it is clear that if at least one if at least one of A or B is empty. Okay, if at least one of A or B is empty, then what we have? Then in that case, A cross B is empty set. Then A cross B is empty set. This is clear. So likewise, we have defined the Cartesian product of two sets. Now, next one example of this Cartesian product we will see. If A is the set that have the members 2 and suppose 7, and let us suppose that B is a set that consists of the three members X, Y and Z, then the Cartesian product A cross B will be the set which consists of the members ordered pairs 2, X, 2, Y, 2, Z, then 7, X, 7, Y, 7, Z. These will be the members of this Cartesian product A cross B. Okay, so 7, X, 7, Y, 7, Z, 7, X, 7, Y and 7, Z. Like such, we have the Cartesian product of sets A and B. Next one after that is this one. If we go for the Cartesian product B cross A, Cartesian product of B and A taken in this order, means first of all B, then A, then it will be the set B cross A. It will be the set that consists of the members X, 2, then X, 7, Y, 2, Y, 7, Z, 2, Z, 7. So like such, we have the Cartesian product of B and A. So, and it is clear that in general, okay, so in general, what we have in general? In general, the Cartesian product A cross B is different from the Cartesian product B cross A. In general, we have the A cross B is not equal to B cross A. And it is clear that A cross B and B cross A will be equal only when A and B are equal sets, means if A and B are one and the same sets. Okay, this one. Now, sometimes in this topology paper, we are going to use the notation, the ordered pair A, B, with the meaning that it is a ordered pair. Okay, A, B, we use the meaning with the meaning that ordered pair. And sometimes this A, B, ordered pair A, B is used to mean, it is used to mean the open interval A to B. Okay, this is used to mean ordered pair, and also it is used to mean open interval. So nothing to distinguish, nothing to have confusion between these two. Okay, but sometimes in some results we are going to use this for means in some results we are going to use ordered pair A, B as well as open interval A, B. In that case, whenever we are going to use both open interval A, B as well as ordered pair A, B in the ordered pair means A cross B in the same result, then in such cases we use this ordered pair A, B to mean that this notation A, B ordered pair we use with the meaning that open interval. And in such cases, the Cartesian product of elements A and B means A cross B we use to mean the ordered pair of elements A and B. Ordered pair of elements A and B. Okay, this is to be used in some special cases, in some results only. So this is about the Cartesian product of two sets. Now we'll generalize this Cartesian product of two sets to the arbitrary number of sets. So we'll generalize this. How it can be generalized? See here, if we have suppose 5 sets and the sets are A1, A2 up to A5. Okay, instead of considering the 5 only, we'll consider the n number of sets. If A1, A2, A3 and likewise we have the n number of sets and the last one is suppose An, then in that case the or Cartesian product of these sets is A1 cross A2 cross A3 and cross so on up to the cross An. Okay, it is this Cartesian product, and it is nothing but it is the set which comprises of elements of this Cartesian product will be obviously ordered n tuples, and ordered n tuples will be A1, A2, dot up to the An. This is a ordered n tuple, and this n tuples should be such that means where Ai belongs to the corresponding Ai. Okay, Ai belongs to the corresponding Ai, which is to mean that if we put I equal to 1, means this first element or first component in the each n tuple should be from the first member in this Cartesian product, that is the capital A1 set. The second component from each n tuple should be from the second set A2. Third component should be from the third set A3 and so on. The last, that is nth component, should be from the last, that is nth set, which is An. So likewise the Cartesian product of n number of sets is defined. Okay, so today we have discussed up to this much. So we'll stop here, and in the next class we'll discuss about the functions. So we'll stop today here. Thank you.